guys, it's Coach from Rocio and today's topic is how to create efficient systems for your work. Obviously, what work means to one person and what work means to another person is going to be completely different. And so there's no possible way for me to know everything that everyone needs to do in every job. And what needs to be done even in the same job for two different people can be completely different. So I'm not going to tell you guys what to do, and I'm not going to have you guys like take out an Excel spreadsheet and start writing stuff in there. Instead, what I want to do is give you guys the framework for how to think about this so that then you're able to apply it into your life and be able to create systems that work for you. Because I honestly think that when it comes to creating efficiency, it has to be about what's efficient for you and not what others tell you to do. So if at the end of this video you're like, I think I need some help, I need to figure out, what do I need to do myself and how can I actually think about this, then go ahead and send me a direct message and we can talk about it, and I can give you some ideas and maybe we can brainstorm. But before I begin, I want to invite you to subscribe to my monthly newsletter. There I share the month's blog posts. I talk a little bit about what I've been going through in my own life and how what I learned can help you with your own personal journey. I also send you a ton of health, career, and personal development freebies. The link will be in the description below, so make sure that you get on there. But let's go into it. Let's talk about some of the things that I think are important to think about. The first thing I think is important to notice is that you need to know what needs to be done. So regardless of the work that you're in, you need to understand what needs to be done on any given day, any given week, any given month. What are the tasks? What are the objectives? Because if you don't know what needs to be done, then how can you make it efficient? How can you make any of it easier for yourself? If you're basically starting every day with oh my God, what do I do right now? Which happens, honestly, in the beginning of jobs. And then this is where, there's a very big difference, obviously. If you start your own business, there might be a lot of I don't know what to do today. Versus if you start at a job where they're like, this is your job, A, B, and C. But in either case, if you are coming into your job every day and waiting for your boss to tell you what to do, and you never get any sense of self-responsibility of, I have to get this done today, and I need to step forward, and I need to do this, this, and this, then you're always going to be at that level. You're always going to feel, one, that you're under somebody else's authority, under somebody else's rule. You're going to have a really hard time moving up, right? Because bosses want to see that you're, somebody who is able to be self-directed, have self-orientation, who's able to make decisions, who's able to do more than what's being asked of them. But you can't do that if you don't even know what needs to be done. Same with your business. If you have a business and you're starting every day not really understanding what you need to do, and you don't have an objective, and you don't have a clear sense of direction, you're gonna struggle. It doesn't mean that you can't do it. It doesn't mean that you can't be efficient at your job, or do well in your job, or do well in business, or make money. It just means that you're gonna struggle more. And so it's better to understand what needs to be done. Another benefit of understanding what needs to be done right now is understanding what more you can do later. This is big for business and companies, right? Once you have a very well established, this is what the company does, this is what we offer, this is how we do things. What about growth? How can you know where you can grow, where you can't grow, what's possible for the future, what's definitely not something you want to do if you don't understand what is being done? So first and foremost, just take the time to understand what needs to be done of you. Very simple way to do this is sit down and just write it out. I remember I had one job as a hostess at a restaurant, and I knew there were certain things that needed to be done because I got taught. So I sat down and wrote it down. It was just so much easier in the morning to just look at the list and be like, I got everything done. Good. Now I know I can focus on this, or focus on that, or this is extra. Versus trying to do the extra stuff and then, oops, I forgot to do this, or I forgot to do that, or oh, I'm behind on this. So it's just very simple. Write a list. The second thing is, what are the steps for those things? So let's say you have a list and it has 20 things in it, right? And the first thing is itself have several tasks. It may be, for example, with content creation, make a video sounds like one thing. Actually getting the video out, the entire process of creating the video, of filming it, of editing, of uploading, Those are all individual steps. So understand the steps that it takes to get that task done. By understanding how it's done, now this is where you actually get to see what can be used in the system and what can't be used in the system. So for example, for creating a video, what are the unique aspects of creating that video? And what are the repeated tasks that come with creating a video? So obviously, for like creating a video, a very simple thing that's unique is the content. I have to actually create a list of what I'm going to talk about. I actually have to think about what I'm going to talk about. That's not the same every single time. But the intro is the same most of the time. The ending is the same most of the time. The call to actions are the same most of the time. The setting up the camera, uploading, the amount of time it takes to upload, the amount of time it takes to post, formatting the blog post, etc. All of those things are things that are repeated. They happen often, again and again. And so anything I can do to make that process easier will help me. But some of the unique aspects are things that don't really fall into a system. So they can, obviously with content creation, there are ways to create systems. But you have to understand that out of all the things that you have to do, what are things that require a unique sense of thought, right? What are like things that you have to think about specifically in order to get them done, and what are things that always happen and that you know that they're always going to happen in the same way, so that you can create a system around them. Because you want to create systems around the things that are always going to be reproduced. So for example, I used to work at a store, this was a while back. I worked at a store where they had food products that were their food products. So it wasn't like things that they bought off another store. So they didn't have their own SKU numbers. Well, I was a cashier and I had to scan those items when people were coming up to pay. They had a system, like a computer system, and they had the ability to have SKU numbers. And so what they were doing is they were creating a brand new SKU for every single sale. Well, what happened with that is now we had to scan it, but then you still had to enter into the computer what it was, how much they got, and the price of the product. Well, that was very difficult to do, because when somebody bought like 7 different things, it took forever. It wasn't like a scan and go kind of thing. And so I remember being frustrated by it. But another thing I used to think, what would make this so much easier is just to apply a SKU number to a specific product, right? Enter it in every day, make sure that the price is set on that product, and then all you have to do is put the amount. So instead of scanning in order to scan the product, and so all you have to do was just scan, this is this type of meat, you enter it in, this is how much they bought, the price is already in there. And so that made it a lot easier to just do repetitive tasks. Now, the individual task in that situation, the uniqueness would be setting the price, because the price has changed all the time. Now, that's something that can't be set on a system if you don't know what the price is. That's something that you every day you have to be like, okay, what changed, what prices changed. And so you have to think about what things need to be done often and can be set up on a system, and what things are thought about uniquely. The same thing goes for just general tasks for your work. What needs to be done on any given day, there are so many things that are part of a system, right? Content creation for a business, for an online marketing business, content creation, sales, talking to people. There are so many things that have to happen in order for you to run that business. And then there's going to be like weird one-time things that happen. Dealing with one-time events don't need to be part of a system. And by having systems in place, you're able to tackle on those unique events that wouldn't normally come up, or that are not a daily part of your work. And you're actually able to devote time to that. So for example, if a business has a customer issue and the customer issue is just very unique, it's not something like that you can delegate to FAQs, right? So a lot of the times with companies, if you're using a program or you're using anything and you have a question that's just a common question, most companies these days redirect you to the FAQs, the frequently asked questions. So as a user, as a consumer, you're able to quickly look up the answer. That person doesn't have to take time out of their day to sit there and rewrite the answer for you and look into it with that much specificness, right? But if your situation is so unique that it isn't something somebody asks often, Now you ask for customer support. Now you're able to then ask, and then that person knows that they're able to spend time fixing that issue. But if it's something that happens all the time, that it's just a normal thing to ask, FAQs, great system. So you got to understand what are things that are unique, things that you can't put on a system, and things that are very easy to put into a system. Then the next thing that I think that you really need to think about, and this is a more personal thing, is what frustrates you. Of all the tasks that you do, of all the things that need to be done, which parts frustrate the crap out of you? And which parts are very enjoyable for you? So, for example, for me, when I create my quote posts, when it comes to looking up quotes and reading and getting inspired and finding what to talk about, I love that part. I mean, that part's enjoyable. I love doing that. It's something I could devote time to. It's something that I want to do. When it comes to actually writing them down, that can get tedious, especially if I have been saving them for a while and then suddenly I have to write them all at once so that I can create them. That part can be frustrating, especially if I'm doing them one at a time. So I created a system last year where I put down everything I wanted to say. I put down all of the quotes I wanted to use, and then I did the rest in a very systematic way. I created all the writing at once, all the pictures at once, all the picture editings at once, all the watermarking at once, and then I uploaded them all at once. And so now I get to do the enjoyable part without using a system. So now I have the content there, and I'm like, now I can actually put time to writing what I want to write, thinking about what I want to say, and putting my heart into what I want to say without having to sit there and be like, oh my god, I gotta write it down, take a picture, use a filter, upload, add a watermark, upload again. All of those things can be very tedious, but the creation part is the part that I find enjoyable. So what in your work is just tedious as hell for you? What is difficult for you to want to do, and how can you make yourself do it? I think of like doing dishes, right, in your house. I don't know if you're somebody who likes doing dishes. I hate it. It's one of the things that I hate the most. And so when it comes to doing dishes, something that always really bothered me was doing each individual dish, because it feels like you're freaking doing dishes for so long. Like you could spend so much of your day doing dishes because you use dishes at every meal, and then you gotta go wash them, and then you gotta this, blah 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 blah. There's just so much, right? And so something that helped me was to create like a little place where I put all my dishes. I let them soak, I leave them all in one spot, and then I do them all at once in one moment. So that way it's just one part of my day that's unenjoyable, but it gets done. It's something that has to get done, right? And then I can move on with my day. So I don't have to spend a lot of time or a lot of effort or having something that just annoys me. Same with laundry, same with, so many other things that we do in our life. If we are only doing things when they come up, when they're presented in front of you, you always just wait till you have dirty dishes and now you have to wash a plate because you didn't do the dishes, right? If you're only ever reacting to life and everything that you end up having to react to is something that you don't enjoy, you're gonna have a hard time. Like, you're just gonna always feel frustrated. You're not gonna like it. You're not gonna like what you do. Same goes with your work. If you have certain tasks that need to be done and you're always falling into that pit of, I'm just reacting, and I'm always ending up having to do the things I hate last minute because I hate them, I don't want to do them, and I didn't set up any system to get them done at a specific time so I can focus on the things I enjoy, then you're just always going to feel frustrated and you're not going to like it. So think about the things that you really just don't want to do, and then those are the kind of things that you're like, okay, how can I automate the crap out of this? Now, the last step is find tools, find resources, hire help, delegate. Not everything needs to be done by you. So obviously this one depends highly on the task, and it depends highly on the type of work. Because if you are the person that was hired to be delegated to, I'm sorry. You don't get a lot of freedom in that area where you get to be like, well, I'm going to have somebody else do it. Or maybe you don't have the money to get the tools or the resources that you need to get those things done. But when possible, when you know that it's just going to work out better to hire somebody else to do it, or when you can pay for a program that does it for you, or find resources that teach you how to do it differently, do that. It's just so much easier. It's gonna free up a lot of your time, free up a lot of that frustration, so that then you're able to focus again on the things that matter and the things that you want to matter. So, for example, I automate my scheduling of my posts. I have a program, I use Hootsuite, and Hootsuite allows you to basically once a week, I enter in all my content, I sit there and I write it all out, I copy and paste it onto the program, I schedule it out to all the different social media platforms, and then the rest of the week I don't have to think about it. It just does it on its own. Because something that used to get really bog me down was that I would sit there and be like, I have something to write, I have something to say, I thought of an idea. Well then, now you gotta upload, now you gotta edit, now you gotta add it, now you gotta copy and paste it, now you gotta share it to this, share it to that, share it to that. And then my phone would freak out, and then it would, or I wouldn't have enough battery, or I would run out, or I'm like, I'll just write it down later. Later I forget, or I couldn't say it the same way. And so it was frustrating. Right? And so there's lots of different programs that do this kind of thing that help you schedule out content. There's programs that help you create content. You can hire people on Fiverr to do it for you. You can delegate other tasks so that you're able to focus on that. And so you have to think about, again, what do I like to do? What brings me joy and what helps me stay focused and helps me feel that motivation to keep going and inspires me to keep growing and to continue to do the work that I do. And what do you hate so much that you really would rather pay somebody else? And if you can't afford it yet, what needs to be done and what resources need to be allocated where in order for you to be able to do that, so that you can free up some of that time and that effort. Now, like I said before, every single person's different, and so if you're having trouble with this, by all means, set an appointment with me and we could talk about creating some systems that will help you in your life. So whether it's from simple tasks to more complicated tasks, like I said, I don't require knowing every single detail. All I need to know is how to help you do it, and all you need to know is how to think about it so that you're able to then come up with those systems for yourself. So again, what needs to be done? What are the steps, and how many of those steps are unique? How many of those steps are repeated tasks? Which steps do you hate? Which steps do you love? And what tools or resources can you use to help you get those things done quicker? Thank you so much for watching this video. If you found it useful, please like it, comment, react, subscribe, text, email, whatever it is that you do online. Thank you and have a blessed day. Goodbye.